Okay, here we go. I'm going to switch myself to the gallery view. You still, to the speaker view, you still have an option to watch whichever way you like. Welcome, everyone. I'm Lana Heckman-Ayers, the managing editor of MoonPath Press. We're here to celebrate the book release of Brendan McBreen's new MoonPath Press poetry collection, The Memory of Water. And there it is. I don't know if you can see it. We're also actually celebrating the release of Carmen Germain's new MoonPath Press collection, Life Drawing. Unfortunately, Carmen, who we wanted to have read along with Brendan, does not have enough internet bandwidth to be on Zoom, so she couldn't join us today, but we still want to acknowledge that her book has come out. We have a wonderful slideshow reading of hers that she has allowed us to put up on our website, and some of you may have seen that already. In order to honor her, for those of you who have seen the slideshow and maybe can answer a question about it, we have a giveaway in honor of Carmen and her new book. But we're excited to have Brendan McBreen read for us today. Brendan lives in Black Diamond, Washington. For many years, Brendan, along with his dad, poet and lyricist Gerald McBreen, planned and put on writing and arts events for the community of Auburn and beyond. Brendan's first collection of poetry, Cosmic Egg, was published by MoonPath Press in 2017. They've had numerous poems published in numerous literary journals. There's Cosmic Egg. And in addition to being a fabulous poet, Brendan is also a visual artist, and he's especially fond of collage. If you saw that cover he just showed us of Cosmic Egg, that is a collage that he did, the artist based on his collage. So just wonderful. So Brendan, I'd like to invite you to unmute yourself and read for us.
I'm happy to be here and happy to plug my new book, The Memory of Water, and to thank James Rogers, who is in the audience, for the wonderful photograph that is on the cover. And I have lighting issues here, so bear with that. And I want to say thank you to MoonPath Press and Lana for helping me put together such a wonderful collection. And it seems kind of odd that Lana, my editor, took so much time and effort to help put this in the perfect order, and then I'm just going to pick through it randomly when I read, or mostly in order. So to start with, Feather of a Broken Oracle, and that title is a line from Denise Levertov. The blowing of air alone is not wind. Movement of molecules is heat. Shape is life. Time doesn't exist. Ma'at measures the immeasurable, one feather at a time. Hearts of stone, hearts of light ring clear from scales. One feather, no matter how heavy, is not a wing. Flight is how birds express their love to the wind. Sometimes squirrels teleport entire vending machines into holes in willows, all the while acting innocent. No one wants to confront them. Who knows where you'd end up? The smiling particle leaps from place to place, unheeding any consequences. Now in a pomegranate, now with some smog. It tesseracts in simultaneous moments, here, there, then, tomorrow. All the while smiling, believing physicists will never catch it. There is a particular kind of brilliance involved in being a hummingbird. starving for sugar water, glistening with impossible to track wing beats, sparkling feathers. Your only job is to delight the eye of any passerby. It is enough to hover in a world too slow to catch you, to drink from the finest, most flamboyant of natural cups, to live among flowers and jewels of dew. There is a particular kind of brilliance just watching a hummingbird, as if being in the present moment and observing beauty were your only job. Moonless night echoes off walls without pictures. Ten dinosaurs were found fully intact in the gas tank of a Chevrolet in Cleveland Tuesday. Oil executives lamented the situation, saying they should have charged extra. Birds will flock with whomever they damn well please. Gay penguins adopting an egg, black and gold hawks, different species, different genus entirely, making adorable hybrids. Nature doesn't conform to human bigotry. You can hear my neighbors back at Sonoma, probably. How desperately I wanted to be found out. The seed of a weed under all that dirt. I wanted sunlight, to be touched by rain, understood. I struggled up through the minutia of time and rust, sprouted one leaf to the overcast, and too swiftly learned how constricting a pot could be, how some people always need something to prune. Now, even on Mars, plastic. And this one is thanks to a line from Dylan Thomas. We will not go gently into that good night. We will kick and scream hydrogen sutras to the end of ends, remake a glowing microbial genome, complete with peons to plastic, petrochemical paradise, an Eden for survivors to adapt, mutate, and grow into unimagined morphologies of ecology too toxic for human meat. But life, evolution, will persist. One day, our wandering spirits may find new corpus antennae capable of receiving our ethereal selves. Will we destroy it all yet again? It's been 3 weeks since the portal to hell opened in our backyard. We've gotten used to it. Even Grandma. She met a fiery archdemon she trades recipes with. We have to make substitutions, though. Like, instead of the souls of unbaptized children, we use kale. This is an acrostic written after the Garden of Earthly Delights by Hieronymus Bosch. What the wind foretells is not always truth. To see with the skin of your skin, uncovered we are all made of light, burning without burning. Our animal selves build temples, lurid among stamen, dancing to an inverted aria, disjointed waltz, a song on the threshold of something more than madness, ecstasy, grandeur among falling time, degraded passion, imprisoned symphony, sympathy which does not rise beyond the limp numbness of it all. Is this where we find our fate? These ruins, blooming with the impurest of intentions? Or are we some other animal, unnamed, unintended, just passing through? Dragonfly. Cherry trees open their petals, pink, pearl, white. Snow wind petals in drying spring pollinated air. You talk of peace, relatives, fluffy clouds, and gates. Ask me, what do I think happens when we die? Watching each cherry petal exist in its own moment. I think 1,000 years from now, the nuclear holy war between those who believe the great god Oprah is a middle-aged white man like themselves and those who believe in history will finally be the end of humanity. Sometime after that, I'll be reincarnated as a dragonfly. Fear. God's boss is a red car or a slug drowned in booze. I want fear to understand I am not intimidated. Fear doesn't scare me as much anymore. The melancholy fly buzzing my ear understands for different reasons. Fear has a face like hash browns or the moon, a face the fly rushes to meet and retreats in numbness and grief. I do fear grief. I travel to the rain to avoid remorse. Once, in a book, the fly found love. I found my journal and a tiger strolling and carousing the rocky neighborhood. The thing about fear is it's only as big or as small as imagination. Like God, the grease monkey under the hood of the cherry Corolla, or a drunk slug, afraid of nothing. As a child, you thought the raccoon at your window the devil and gave her your soul. She nurtured it as one of her own cubs, taught it to survive and steal. Be curious and bold, even if the world hates you. He never thanked her, never called her mother, never forgave her kindness. And I think a lot of us writers are familiar with this one. Rejection. I am sorry to say, we will not be accepting your submission at this time. This is not a reflection of your effort, but rather an indication of our gross incompetence. Yes, we cannot tell quality writing from crusty gum under a bus seat. We really have no idea what is good or bad. We simply pick submissions randomly and hope our readers are as dumb as we are. Thank you for submitting to us, though. It makes us feel like we are doing something right. And please, send us more of your writing. It helps us get grants. And this one's for Lana. As an editor of a small press journal, she always has issues. The naturopath anesthesiologist prefers bludgeoning. Long ago, before I saw the sea's heartbeat in ocean waves, conifers near the beach, floating like angels passing too quickly. Before I became a face, appropriately enough, in shadow, an hourglass, all sand gone. A millennia ago, I was a sunrise, headed to a fortune teller. I was in need of a dream. She told me she could see me in a red hoodie, surrounded by praying women, a green bell pepper, my only possession. I don't know what this meant. I had more questions, but my time was limited, and accordion music was beginning to follow me. Loud music filled the room with flowers of smoke and light. We danced until our bodies ached, then danced until we could feel our bodies no more. When the music finally stopped, we went outside in the chill moonlight and danced to the music still echoing in our hearts. Our bodies rose slowly from the ground. Clouds obscured the moon, and in new falling snow, we danced into the sky. The angry onion. You give me a random line, and I'll give you a random line. You want to write about computers. I want to write about swords and adventure. You say forgiveness is divine. I say your ice cream is a symbol of the chaos inside my soul. It belongs on the floor. You tell me to quiet my ego. I'm a fox in a trap, I yell. I'm gnawing my own hand off. You say, cellar door is the most beautiful word in the English language. Now I'm stumped. Didn't I hear that in some movie once? I can't think of which one. So I'm silent, and the silence gets heavier. It rushes in like a tsunami, and I'm drowning in it. And I'd never been more frightened, but then I see you, and the silence calms, becomes a still lake. You just smile, and so do I. A bird in the hand. Frightened flutter of a tiny heart, trying to stay as still as possible. First, there was the flutter of wings. I thought I imagined it. Then, lying on the floor, playing late night video games, the air of wing beats against my foot, an uncertain tweet. A sparrow, lost in a world of walls. I caught it, using a towel as a net, went to free it outside. Hesitate, fascinated by this warm, fragile thing, this life I held in my hands. In the dark, cool night, I let it go. Tonight, in the heartbeat of the sea, I carved your name in grains of sand. Soon the sky will clear and stars will fall to earth, one photon at a time. You told me once to be prepared for truth, but tonight I cannot tell the difference between reflection and sky, between you and I. So that's from, well, bad lighting. That's from The Memory of Water. I'm going to read a few from my other book, Cosmic Egg. And as maybe you could see, I collect bookmarks. So this is a nice bookmark. Again, it's kind of hard to see. It's Pablo Neruda, and it's from Chile. And my friend Jim Teeters brought it back for me after a vacation. Counting backwards from pi, I found your smile folded between integers. I hope you are only marking your place. It would be a shame to lose such an important expression. Farmer's Market bookmark. Algebra. The light above my desk went out. True story. Wanda Coleman bookmark. I should have been a plumber. Unclogging subatomic particles encrusted on the elbow joints of kitchen sinks. In the drain, dead goldfish, furious hair anemones, a quarter unknown blue goo, all bouncing in aquatic Brownian motion, converging in emptiness and blackness, compressing where even light cannot penetrate, but water knows, and the floor is wet. This has a quote from Albert Einstein. I consider myself to be a stranger everywhere. Imagine me, a stranger. Imagine the wave. Center it in a spherical lake, standing in free space. Waves of electrons collide with paper swans, ripple to the outer edge of time. How could I ever tell you, I want to be a woman? I want to be a swan. Rose print paper, petals scattered, some on fire. I want to fold myself into myself. And Washington State Poet Laureate Todd Marshall bookmark. Sasquatch. Are you what we would have been before the Anunnaki changed us, made us more like them? Bigfoot, North American great ape, our cousin lemur. Are you our past haunting us? Lost potential made flesh, made fur, leaving loping tracks across our most secret dreams? And for those of you in Washington and Tacoma, King's Books bookmark. Wishing on a black hole. Before the ender of time finds us, wishing we had more. Before all dust is returned to its singular source, let us add a few splashes of color to the unfinishable canvas of understanding. And Monash University from Australia bookmark. Cosmic plumbing. Swirling along the event horizon of a black hole, time is how we perceive spaghettification, our past constant draining, anchoring our future. We run as fast as we can just to stay put, the final flush imminent. And what manner of celestial alligator might we meet on the other side? 2012 Quilting Festival. House demolished years ago. Nobody told the tulips. Oh, this is the first bookmark I got ever that started my bookmark collecting from Olympic Junior High. It says this is a generic bookmark. This all-purpose bookmark is of so-so quality and suitable for everyday use in all sizes and types of fiction and nonfiction books. If you don't mess it up, it can be reused. This bookmark is good enough if you aren't picky. After all, it's free. Go buy a fancy one in full color with a tassel if it really matters. That's the first bookmark I collected. Plant everything that hurts. The earth will forgive you. And Planet Zoo, it's a wolf. Bad lighting. But it's a really good picture of a wolf. I have one poem to finish the evening with, but for the reading now, I'll finish with this one. And I apologize, this is the older book, and technically, this is not a good poem. This is a bad poem. This poem is mean to puppies. This poem catches flies and puts them in spiders' webs. This poem trips the elderly, loses quarters on the floor, laughs when people try to pick them up. This poem is unruly. It heckles other poems. This poem is not a good role model. This poem drinks, smokes, hangs out in tattoo parlors on the mean side of the tracks. This poem scolds kindergartners, laughs at others' misfortune. This is a bad poem. Once, in grade school, this poem beat up that slow kid and took his lunch money. Things have only gone downhill since. This poem is packing. It's a rough neighborhood, and this is a rough poem. Sometimes this poem deals meth and pot, rolls junkies and drunks. A good poem wouldn't do such things. This poem is a loner. No need for influences. Keats, Nash, Kipling, McClure. This poem is self-sufficient. This poem is proud. Someday, this poem will be gunned down on the street. But today, no one messes with this poem. This is a bad poem. Right. The ones in this one got better. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Brendan. I'm glad you read some poems from Cosmic Egg. That's just wonderful. It's so good to hear all of the poems. I hope all of you are enticed enough by Brendan's work to take a look at it. All of our books are available from indiebound.org, from bookshop.org, from barnesandnoble.com and amazon.com, and from the author themselves. So I hope you'll take a look further. And if you enjoyed this reading, we have another reading coming up in a few weeks on Sunday, November 13th at 3 p.m. with Alice Derry and Suzanne Edison, who are both going to be reading from their new MoonPath Press collections. I have those here. They have some beautiful covers. You can see the covers, beautiful work. And I hope you'll join us then. By a show of hands, for those of you who are on screen, or if you can put up your hand reaction, who here has actually listened to Carmen Germain's slideshow reading? We've got 2 folks, is that right? Priscilla and James Rogers. So I have a question to ask, and you don't have to shout it out yet. Just raise your hand again if you know the answer. Do you know the title of the cover art that is on Carmen Germain's book? Either of you? Getting a shake. Okay. Do you know what famous artist Carmen quotes? Looks like James knows. Okay, James, what artist does she quote in her reading?
Vincent van Gogh.
That's correct. All right. And let's see, Priscilla, maybe you know this one. Do you remember the name of the female artist who was 80 years old and painted herself nude?
George O'Keeffe.
Nope. Different one. Priscilla, you're muted.
Alice Neal.
That's right. You both win. So what I'm going to do is I will send you, you guys email me at moonpathpress@gmail.com, your snail mail addresses. And I'm going to send you not only a copy of Carmen Germain's life drawing, but another one of MoonPath Press's books. And I hope you will enjoy those.
Thank you.
So thanks for playing. And I invite you all to watch the slideshow of Carmen Germain's reading. It's unfortunate she doesn't have the bandwidth for Zoom reading, but her book is really wonderful. And in case you didn't see it, the cover is actually her cover art. She's also a visual artist as well as a writer. And it's called Man in the Green Shirt. I think it looks a little bit like a cross between Vincent van Gogh and Carmen Germain. I think it's a fabulous piece of cover art. So now, by a show of hands, which one of you, Laura had her hand up. Laura, did you also listen to the slideshow?
I did, but I'm fine. It was a beautiful reading.
Do you know what the Vincent van Gogh quote was? Kind of paraphrase it.
Gosh. I know something about art and
yeah, don't be don't be afraid and don't
be afraid, and something about don't worry about perfection. Or
yeah, it was don't be afraid and don't make it pretty. which I thought was
Pretty.
great. So Laura, you also email at me at MoonPath Press
Oh,
and we'll
wow.
get you some
Thank
books.
you.
Okay, sorry I missed you. And now, by a show of hands, how many of you brought a poem to read for the open mic? So we have, let me just make sure I don't miss anyone this time. I'll write all your names down. We have Laura, Carol, keep your hands up, Priscilla and Nancy. Anyone else? That's it.
Raul.
Raul. Oh, he's got a thumb up. Okay. Thank you, Raul. It works. It all works. Okay. So I'm not missing anybody. We
And
have
Michael McGee.
Michael. Let's see. Laura, Michael, Carol, Raul, Nancy, Priscilla. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay. And I'm just going to go by the way you guys show up on my screen, even though you're moving around. You seem to be moving even as I speak. So 1 page poem per poet, please. And let's start with Laura.
I'm sorry. I should take my hand down. I'm not a poet. I'm a
Oh, okay.
calligrapher.
You didn't actually want to read. Okay. Well, don't forget to email me at moonpathpress.com and you
Okay.
can have your books. So we'll start with Carol, who is next on my screen.
All right. The title is Night Blooming Sirius, Penn Yan, New York. Suddenly, a gray September breeze picks up and throws us into late autumn. I rush around gathering anything tender, the last peppers, lettuce, a handful of basil. Worried about frost, my husband carries in the Sirius. He will pay a price. Since the cancer, he budgets his strength. It sits in its large plastic pot on the counter, long flat stems barely contained, a green riot boiling over the edge, succulent, glossy, muscled with the weightlifter's veining. Not one plant, but all the cuttings that survived the long passage through 7 moves to this garden, almost lost in the cold rains of an Oregon spring and the fist-sized hail in Massachusetts. 2 huge buds dangle like pendulous gonads, fringed with a ring of fleshy sepals. We think they may open tonight. We wait by the hour as if these are puppies about to be born. The first bloom goes to our grandchildren who come past bedtime, solemn and pajamaed, to watch its stem lift, aim a bone-white barrel at the room, and blast us all with luscious, peppery scent. Their grandfather tells them how at 15 he traveled by bus through Brazil, past Itaperuna to the mountains above Ouro Preto, how the jungles there are shaggy with Sirius, so many blooming, each for just one night, that chaos erupts in nearby towns after dark. Extravagant reunions, wild dancing, fistfights in the city square, all explained away the next day on the effects of this seductive pheromone. The last blossom opens too late. He has to sleep. But we have propped the pot on a chair next to our bed. I watch its petals unfurl in the dim light of the room, its lacy sex exposed above his head. I want its perfume to burrow in and saturate his dreams, to let him walk with ease down the steps of that bus and up into the jungle, to bloom again tonight with 1,000 Sirius tangled in the trees above.
Wow. Thank you, Carol. Carol Bouchard is also a MoonPath Press author. I don't have your book on my desk. Do you have it right by you?
No.
Tell us all the title.
Each leaf singing.
And as you can tell, Carol writes a lot about nature. Her book is stunning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that incredible poem.
Thanks.
And next on my screen, I see Michael. You just muted yourself, Michael. Please unmute.
Okay. Now?
Yes, we hear you now.
Okay,
Thank you.
this is in honor of Brendan. Because he has such a cosmic vision. Jupiter, a bright spot. Oh, Jupiter, you are so bright before my eyes. Maker of jollity with your shiny face. Actually, I'm thinking about Brendan here. Tonight, 367 million years away, the closest since 1963, or another 60 years from when I graduated. 3 moons appear, Europa, Io, Callisto, and Ganymede 2, white discs that hang in a blur. Moons of my bright eye, I try to focus, but you move away, like a firefight through my German binoculars. I shall see this night as long as I live, like hail bop, white pulse of your being, a quasar of my thoughts. So that's for Brendan.
Thank
Yay,
you, Michael.
Brendan.
Beautiful. And
The
Michael
cosmic
is
aid.
Michael is also a MoonPath Press author whose book Terra Firma came out this year. Terra Firma's Sacred Ground, another incredible collection with over 70 years of poetry throughout his life. An
It's
amazing
as old as I am.
An amazing collection. Thank you, Michael.
Welcome.
Next on my screen is Priscilla.
I'm going to read from Holy Magic.
Another MoonPath Press book.
The first poem, Art and Life. Art saves nothing. And this is not art, just words running in lines, hoping to reach redemption. Meanwhile, time is running out for bat and bob white, damselfly and butterfly. Coral reefs are dying, and salmon, once wild, breed in tubs. Don't put your hopes in poems that plot the putrid doings of bankers that bank on Franz Marc's red horses gamboling and grazing, as if we'd never learned to fabricate glue from hooves. But look, the peregrines are back, startling starlings into masterpiece murmurations.
Wow. Thank you, Priscilla. Thanks for reading from your collection. Wonderful. And you have a new collection out too, Priscilla, right?
My new book is called, it's called Dancing with the Muse in Old Age. It's not poetry. You should all read it. It's about old age. It's to celebrate my forthcoming 80th birthday. So.
And there, 2 of our audience are holding up my favorite book about writing ever, The Writer's Portable Mentor. It's incredible. I'm on my 2nd copy of it. I've worn out the first one. I had to get another one. Incredible book. And there's the Minding the Muse. Yes, we have a lot of fans in this audience, Priscilla. Thank you so much. Next on my screen is Nancy. Nancy, you're muted.
No,
And you're not a MoonPath Press author yet, but we have
No.
open readings every summer. So
I'm delighted. I want to thank Brendan for inviting me, and I'm sure I'm not in the same league as you all, but I decided to brave it and read one of my poems. This is from a group that I participate in, and it was a prompt that was I am from, and then you take it from there. So this is called Roots and Branches. I am from Washington, the state, and from Germany and Switzerland and England and Maine and the cold north of Minnesota. I am from people who found their way by some miracle of passion, fear, expediency, determination, grit to this place. Left one place, one land, one climate, one political reality for another. Far from home, from roots, from family, from traditions. Hope for better, and a fire in their hearts for a new beginning.
Yeah.
That's my camel.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Nancy. And I've heard you read at other readings I've attended where you were also at the reading. And I would love to see a manuscript from you at our next open reading period.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I
very
hope to
much.
consider it. Thank
I
you so
will.
much, Nancy.
Thank you.
And I think if I've seen everyone, Raul, are you did I leave anyone out? Is Raul? Raul, I guess you are our last open mic reader.
Well, thank you, and thank you to see you all, at least through this medium behind the glass. There you are. I'm touching each and every one of you. So finger to finger. So hopefully next year I'll have some for you, Alana. I've been putting together. I've been really super busy, but I had to pay attention to my own work because when I don't do it, I get grumpy. So writing, it calms me down and, you know, puts me in focus. I'm going to share this poem. It got published. I got involved with the Writing the Land project. It's a national project. And they select people, or people volunteer to write about different places, nature. Here I selected the Curly Creek Tyner Preserve, which is near Port Orchard. And I had to go out there to observe. And Carol, I think you're going to see some of these images as I describe them. Curly Creek Tyner Preserve. Filtered sunlight on a damp, drizzly day. Raindrops slide slowly from the petiole to the tip. Cordate, serrate, crenate, lobed, and parted leaves. Old growth trees flank the path. Silent murmur emanating from ancient glacial deposits give life to the creek streaming down to Long Lake. Luscious nursing logs guard a green path, erect like strings of a Welsh triple harp. The open meadow soaked in rain, blackberry bushes drip joyfully. Birch branches filled with hanging moss, resembling ladies' veils, a sign of reverence. Above the canopy, an eagle soars like a baton, creating rhythmic circles against the laden sky. Hushed symphony best listened to with eyes closed. Today, the creek sings the songs of the Suquamish tribe, protectors of the land. Each step on the soggy ground brings us closer to the creek, guided by the sound of the water. A moment of reflection and respect for the land and the abundant life the estuaries provide. Deer walk upstream, single file, waving their white tails. Water is a symbol of life. Curly Creek, where salmon species spawn and wildlife abounds, early fall, best time to witness adult salmon swimming upstream. Back to the spawning grounds, coho, chum, steelhead, chinook, and cutthroat trout plentiful feast for the sea lions, harbor seals, porpoises, and orca whales in Yukon Harbor. Curly Creek Tyner Preserve, where life spawns, where life thrives, where life prevails. Thank you.
Wonderful, Raul. Raul has several publications out now, but All Our Brown-Skinned Angels, his MoonPath Press book, is still one of our most beloved books.
And it's still selling.
Yeah.
I take it to readings with me. People get one of each.
Yeah, it's
We need one more to
incredible.
make the trifecta.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raul. And Brendan, would you like to close out the open mic with another poem of yours?
Yes. So I'll finish with one from the Memory of Water called Wonderful World. And it's after the song What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. Smiling, not just with his whole face, not even with his whole body, but his voice and every bit of his essence was joy, a joy he shared, still shares. I sometimes think the problem with humanity is humanity, We should evolve beyond hate, beyond greed, become beings of light without want. But then again, some of my best friends are human. I also think about some Buddhist ideas I once read, that this world is one half heaven, one half hell, a perfect balance, the perfect place to learn all the lessons needed to become a Buddha. But who cares about that? The sky is rumpled silver gray, vibrant greens grow full of bird song and conversation. Dogs play and run, even the Cessna above loops about for joy and training. Today is a good day to watch the ivy grow, search for four-leaf clovers, dance to wind chimes, order pizza, chat with friends, and just enjoy being alive at this moment in this smiling world.
Thank you so much for that, Brendan. And if you'll all put up with one more poem, just to honor Carmen Germain, I'd like to read a poem from her collection, Life Drawing, because she couldn't be here herself to read it. This is called The Fixed Stars, and it starts with an epigraph from Van Gogh in a letter to his brother in 1889. And the epigraph is, when I ask myself, shouldn't the shining dots of the sky be as accessible as the black dots on the map of France? Just as we take the train to Taraxcan or Rouen, we take death to reach a star. Van Gogh worked with nothing in his belly but milk and dry bread so he could buy paint. And it's true. He squeezed tubes on canvas and flowed through his fingers olive groves, cypress, and wheat fields, the starry night. When his warder went with him as far as the ravine of Les Perles, Van Gogh saw deep red and burnt sienna, rosemary, and black pine, strands of fire in the narrow valley downslope, midday sun in the V, and a stream of cerulean, falling, rock face, and every living thing. 2 women on the trail, each in crimson. When he left the asylum, some paintings were abandoned or forgotten in a case in his cell. Maybe a companion piece to the ravine, but painted in morning light, which changes everything. Sun in the valley citron, and in shadow, rock face, purple and rich blue, rosemary, emerald, and russet gold. Path empty and the music of yellow warblers, his favorite color, that kind of hope. How the boy who found the pictures showed them to his friend. What shall we do with them? We could use them as targets. And they propped Les Perles in the morning sun and shot it full of holes. Maybe Van Gogh would have said, the profane is no less profound than the sacred, only more wounded. So that's from Carmen Germain, who couldn't be with us today, but we celebrate her book release as well. I want to thank you all, especially Brendan, for your amazing reading, for your wonderful poems and your humor and your grit and your passion. And I want to thank all of you for being here, for your compassionate listening, for the generosity of your words, for those of you who shared your poems as well. It's always wonderful when we come together over poetry. I think it makes our lives richer and fuller and allows us to see things differently with new perspectives shared by the voices of others who enter the world with just as much light and dark as the rest of us, but sparkle and shadow are a little bit different than ours. And so we share more. Thank you so much. I hope some of you or all of you will be back on November 13th, Sunday at 3 p.m. to hear Suzanne Edison and Alice Derry and listen to their amazing poetry.
Thank you. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Lana. Yay.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Hi. It was a
Don't forget-
pleasure.
Don't
Thank you.
forget to email me so I can mail you some books, those of you who won books. Bye.